Welcome back to the channel. Let's get after it.
I believe that God actually exists. Except the God that exists, that created this universe and the multiverse, not in the Quran, not in the Torah, not in the Talmud, not in the Bible, not in the Sumerian tablets, not in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, not in the Mahabharata, not in the Bhagavad Gita, not in the Indian Vedas, not in the Epic of Atrahasis, not in the Epic of Gilgamesh. I can go on and on and on. Not in the Code of Hammurabi, not in the myth of Adapa. I can keep going. Guess what, guys? I'm one of the foremost world leader in the knowledge on ancient texts and tablets, scriptures, papyrus, and cylinder scrolls. And guess what? In all the ones I've gone through, over thousands over the years, not one of them is speaking about the creator of the universe, which is real. I acknowledge that. Matter of fact, so did the Anunnaki. They claimed to know that they were going to get in trouble for what they did on this planet by the creator of all, which tells you that they knew they weren't the creator of all, that there was somebody even above them. An entity, an energy, a life force of something above them that had a say-so, and they would have to find judgment one day. So they knew they weren't God, even though they masqueraded as God. They became the gods of the Torah and the Talmud and the Bible and the Quran and all these texts. The Elohim, which means plural, gods with an S.
You know, if there's one thing I can say about Billy Carson, I am currently going through his book, The Emerald Tablets. I believe with every fiber of my being that he fully believes in what he's preaching. I don't think that he is out here trying to lie to try to steal the limelight or get his 15 minutes of fame. Whether he's interested in that or not, I do think he is being genuine whenever he says these things. And it's kind of interesting, the whole concept of the oldest known religion, the Sumerians being made by the Anunnaki. Those beings, they had their own deity that they felt they were going to have to answer to. It's pretty fascinating.
If you haven't heard of Dr. Royal Raymond Rife, this is someone who's been referred to by those who personally knew him as a genius. He was a scientist and inventor, and starting in the 20s, he began building a large and very complex microscope capable of magnifying objects 31,000 times, compared with the maybe 1,700 times that were available on standard microscopes in the 30s and 40s. By 1940, he had invented a 2-foot microscope weighing 200 pounds that included 5,682 parts, which enabled him to see viruses and bacteria in a way that no other scientist had at that time. Because these organisms were so tiny, he designed a method of staining them with light. And through this work, he came to understand that living things, including pathogens and viruses and bacteria, have their own frequency or oscillation pattern. And just like a specific musical note can shatter a wine glass if sung at the resonant frequency of the glass, he found specific frequencies could be used when matched up with specific pathogens in order to destroy them. And as he continued to isolate viruses and bacteria and locate their frequencies, he also claimed he discovered the virus responsible for cancer. Using resonance, or what he termed the mortal oscillatory rate of the virus, he was able to kill it in laboratory experiments over and over and over. He completed hundreds of experiments on tumors in rats purposefully infected with the isolated cancer virus before ever attempting to use these frequencies on people. In 1934, he famously tested out his device on 16 terminally ill cancer patients. Out of 16, 14 of them, all but 2, were certified medically cured in just 3 months. Of his treatment, Rife would later write, "With the frequency instrument treatment, no tissue is destroyed, no pain is felt, no noise is audible, and no sensation is noticed. A tube lights up and 3 minutes later the treatment's completed. The virus or bacteria is destroyed, and the body then recovers itself naturally from the toxic effect of the virus or bacteria. Several diseases may be treated simultaneously." His findings were at first widely published. In June of 1940, the LA Times reported, "For organisms too small to be stained, an ingenious illuminating system is used. The system utilizes Rife's theory that organisms respond to certain wavelengths, a theory he carries to finality by bombarding disease germs with radio waves which are tuned to those of the minute man-killers. And the virus he says occurs in cancer has, Rife insists, disintegrated under such radio waves. Rife was hailed in the scientific and medical communities for his discoveries, at first. By 1937, he'd established a company called Beamray with several colleagues, and 14 of his machines were manufactured. Multiple doctors used these machines, tested them out, and saw that they worked. It wasn't just Rife's word. So what happened? Why aren't these machines in every hospital and cancer treatment center in the world today? Why don't we have them? Simply put, the only cancer Rife couldn't seem to kill was greed.
Until I hear evidence that would tip me into another direction, I am thoroughly convinced that they use some sort of frequency technology to build the pyramids and all these ancient megalithic structures. So for that reason, I think this right here is the reason why we're not currently into these technologies, is because the people who are in control don't want all of these diseases and things cured because there's too much money in the medications and the pharmaceuticals. I think if they just released all the science on frequency information that we actually have, to just released it all to the public, let everyone who wanted to dive into it read these papers and everything, I feel like we would have like frequency based technology would just explode and go through the roof. I feel like there's so much that could be done with it. It can cure diseases, it can levitate objects. We saw that a couple days ago in a couple videos back, but we'll go on. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, I make a new one just like it every single day. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me.
On World News Tonight this Sunday, one of the world's greatest filmmakers has died.
Will you stop, Dave?
Tonight, we remember Stanley Kubrick's visual legacy.
I am Werner von Braun. This motion picture was produced to enable you to experience more personally and vividly the most dramatic events of the Apollo 11 story. The pictures and sounds are real, recorded in real time, where the action really was. So, come with us. We are going to the moon.
And I'm sure you've heard the rumors.
The moon landing hoax?
That's right. That the moon landing was fake. The moon landings all were fake. And I was the person who filmed it.
You're serious? And okay.
I am serious. I'm dead serious.
Because I only have this certain amount of time with you, and I'll talk about whatever you want. You know, this isn't some type of joke or
no, it's not
film
joke.
within a film thing.
Not a joke. Nope.
Okay.
The conspiracy theorists were right on this occasion.
Why?
I don't know about Paul McCartney's death, but they were right about it.
Okay. Why in God's name would... I don't know what to ask you first. Why the hell, if you're telling the truth, why would you do it? Why are you telling me? I mean, what the...
Don't you think it's important for people to know the truth?
Yeah, I got... yes, certainly.
They had a massive fraud, an unparalleled fraud perpetrated against them. They should know.
Okay.
I mean, they're already suspicious of the government. They may as well have their suspicions confirmed.
Okay.
And justified.
And this, why now? I mean, we're almost at the 30-year anniversary. What took so long? Why, if this is true, why?
I won't go into that. It has to do with personal...
Okay.
Evolution and influences.
And, well,
I'll go into that.
Is that why you look a little haggard right now? Because you look a little worn. No offense. Like.
Well, also, yeah, because I haven't been taking care of myself too well. I've been drinking a lot, but...
Is that because of the stress of this?
Of course. Stress, guilt, just conflict of all kinds.
Wow. I mean, so you feel bad about this, clearly. I mean, this is not...
I do feel bad about it. I also feel proud of it. It's a terrible conflict.
Because you've pulled off one of the greatest hoaxes ever because of your...
And because I made a film, if you want to call it a film, which I consider to be my masterpiece.
And you can't take credit or even talk about it
Well,
you are now.
I'm hereby taking credit.
Right, but you can't actually go out. You're doing, when people see this,
No
you'll be dead.
Until 10 years.
Right, or
15
15, yeah.
After my death.
So you can't talk to Roger Ebert about it, Does that frustrate you?
I have to pay the consequences for the decision that I made many years ago to go along with this.
Like a deal with the devil.
It's Faustian, to be sure.
And is that why you got such power in Hollywood? I mean, that would explain that.
Why I have the freedom I have, that was part of it, yes.
So they said, do this moon thing and we'll give you...
When I made Spartacus, I didn't have this kind of freedom.
Right.
But I have it now.
So what came first, the genius or the fraud?
What was NASA's doing?
Well, what came first, the genius or the fraud? I mean, did the fraud enable the genius, or was the genius released
I'd like
the fraud?
to think the genius came first.
Right.
But some frauds are hard to bypass, especially if you have an ego and you're an artist and you're presented with a challenge, the likes of which you've never seen and will probably never see again. You don't even think of the morality of it. You're just completely swept away by the flattery of it and the juices inside you, which make you want to do it as the artist you are innately. You don't think of anything else.
What a conflict. I mean, gosh, I can't imagine being presented with that opportunity. On one hand, I really would want to do it, but then I'd probably say, well, I'm committing a crime and lying and...
It depends, but my guess would be, no, you if you're good, you would do it. I discussed this with Levinson, Barry Levinson.
Right.
I discussed it with...
Oh, he made Wag the Dog, right? Yeah.
Yes. Spielberg, of all people, believe it or not, yes.
So wait, Wag the Dog...
Coppola, Scorsese, even Woody Allen I discussed. There isn't one of them who wouldn't do this.
Right. And so Barry Levinson must have been influenced by this whole... He must have known, so that's... Wag the Dog is about this whole idea. That's why...
The character was named Stanley.
Right. And he gets killed at the end because he demands credit.
Here by Stanley Kubrick to more or less ensure the scientific integrity of the film, to make sure that it's very, very close in reality, but still we want to make certain that it has a base of reality.
Before the end of the 60s, we will see a man to the moon, an American, and we're very proud that our country continues to produce these young men who go so far and carry with them so much.
To put people on the moon and with enough fuel to enable...
I know that was long, but that's the longest uncut clip of that I've seen yet, and so I wanted to put the whole thing in here because I find it fascinating, and I thought that the rest of you would as well. And what worries me is that pretty soon those who haven't seen this are going to be convinced that it's AI video, and it's right around the corner. I've already seen some very convincing AI stuff, and they have a little difficulty getting the audio to match up quite perfectly, but it's getting there, and it won't be that long. We're not going to be able to tell if we're being fooled by the propaganda or if the propagandists are into our alternate media fooling us there too.
Biggest bombshells at that 2001 press conference was the testimony of Carol Rosin, an aerospace executive who worked beside Wernher von Braun, the Nazi rocket scientist who came to America after World War II to work for NASA. Carol received his deathbed confession, a testimony so terrifying that we spent the last 20 years trying to warn about it.
Now, here was von Braun sitting at a desk when I first met him, explaining to me that he was told he only had 3 to 6 weeks to live, but that he was going to stay alive long enough to teach me what the real game is that's going on. And it started out when I was in the industry, the Russians were the threat. We had to build space-based weapons against the Russians. And then third world countries called nations of concern at that time. And then the asteroid threat, which I thought was kind of comical that we could just put weapons up there to shoot down or steer an asteroid. And then it leads to the last card And then he would repeat to me over and over, and the last card, the last card, the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat. He explained to me that there was a moment when we were going to be told that the extraterrestrial beings, that their craft were a threat, and they were not. These craft that have come here are now not UFOs, they're identified flying objects, and we know that they have beings in them. And we have witnesses here who have told you that they can shut down our missile silos. They can stop a rocket going into space that's a test. We have witnesses here who have worked in the classified departments who have the courage to come forward here to support what Werner von Braun told me back in 1974 to 77. At the end, I said, and it's all a lie. Well, it's still all a lie. When von Braun talked to me about this faked extraterrestrial, he called it a faked alien invasion that was being planned, I saw on a board a list of countries against whom we were going to build space-based weapons. I called Wesley Clark, and he answered the phone. And I said, well, what is it about? And he said, well, I asked that question. What is it about? And the guy at the desk said, I don't know.
Very importantly, I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the sixth branch of the armed forces. That's a big statement. We are going to have the Air Force and we are going to have the Space Force, separate but equal. It is going to be something so important.
You know, it's stuff like this that makes me, well, this and my general distrust of NASA. These videos like this are the reason that I keep looking into this flat Earth stuff. I know some of you don't like it, and I'm still not a flat earther, says the guy with the flat Earth photo behind him. I just think it's cool looking. I've never been to space before, so I don't know what shape this Earth is. All I know is what I've been told and all of these CGI images that I've been shown. So why not keep looking into all of these clear facts that I'm being shown that point in the direction of something that sounds far-fetched. A lot of this stuff sounds far-fetched, but if there's some truth behind it, even a little bit of truth, don't we keep digging?
It's a process called sonoluminescence.
The first time I saw sonoluminescence was in a darkened room. I was transfixed to look at this spherical flask of fluid. And you look into the center, and in the center see a glowing blue-purple light, which could be seen with the unaided eye. It looked like a star in the heavens.
Seth Putterman called it the star in a jar, a tiny spot of bright light contained in a flask of liquid. This star in a jar is made when a sound wave is passed through a small bubble inside a flask of liquid. And this sound wave makes the bubble do something remarkable. First it expands, then it collapses. And this collapse happens so violently that vapor molecules trapped inside the bubble slam together and heat up so much that the bubble gives off an incredible burst of heat and light, several thousand times a second, giving the appearance of a star. What made the phenomenon so exciting was the temperature of this star in a jar. On its surface alone, the light burns at tens of thousands of degrees.
All I'm seeing here is that they just proved that stars can exist inside of liquid, like the liquids above the firmament. I don't know why that popped in my head, but that's pretty funny.
The most important lesson you can learn on Earth is how to manipulate energy. So what does that mean? Create. You have to learn how to create. There's only two rules about creating your reality. You never create anything that will harm any other person. And you never create anything that will take away from another person. You obey those two rules, you can have absolutely anything you want. There are no limitations except what you put on yourself. You helped create universes, you helped create planets, you helped create water, you created everything. Look what a powerful being you are. You did these things. Now you're in a human body, you forget the power you have. Nothing is impossible.
This is Dolores Cannon, everybody. For those of you who are not aware, she is a past life regression therapist and a afterlife specialist, so to, I guess, self-imposed afterlife specialist. We're going to be digging into her with a few more videos in the coming days, and I just wanted to give everyone a little taste of her and what kind of stuff she is spouting off about.
In 1902, the Masonic United States changed the phoenix on the Great Seal to an eagle after 120 years since 1782. The Great Seal Pyramid identifies the 13th degree of Masonry, the Royal Arch of Enoch, builder of the Great Pyramid. 1902 Phoenix Transit began the Masonic elite's final 138 years. They know and have long been preparing for May 2040. Few Americans realize that the Great Seal of their nation was the Phoenix. They have always assumed it was the eagle, and it's not. The change from the Phoenix to the eagle is not without significance, but even more so because it happened very quietly and with almost no publicity in the year 1902. The Masons know well the geometrical dating of the Great Pyramid, what it contains, what it does, what it means. At least the upper echelons, the elites in the Masonic orders know this. The three-dimensional geometry of the Great Pyramid forms the number 10, the Tetratus, and this is well known in Masonry. What's not so well known is that all four slopes, each slope of the Great Pyramid is at 51 degrees. 4 of these slopes is 204. Times 10 is 2040. This Tetratus embodies the number 10. So we have a geometrical dating right here in the Anno Domini timeline as 2040. Those who would hold that this is entirely too arbitrary must take into consideration that the Anno Domini calendar is a retrospective calendar. It is not a calendar that had a beginning date at any definitive time in history, but was invented because of a story. Anno Domini means year of the Lord, but it's not the Lord you're thinking of.
Alright, so this dude, I guess, is trying to claim that something is coming in May of 2024, and that only the upper echelons of the elite are aware of it, and I guess that's why they're building all these bunkers and stuff. As some of these videos, I feel like people are going to be glad that I put the progress bar in there so they can skip it.
So what is your belief about the simulation that we're in? I mean, can you give some basic information about what you think our world is? Is it flat? Is it round? You know, is it simulated from a computer, or is it, I know you talk about artificial intelligence. Just give us, my viewers, some understanding on that, please.
Okay. I believe that we live inside the simulacrum, and the simulacrum is nothing but a holographic template by which someone on the outside of the construct can build worlds, can do whatever it wants to do, can create and collapse entire biospheres, can introduce whole new variants of the human family with new genetic sequences, latent genes, junk DNA that only activate under certain conditions, because this entire experience that we're inside right now is a copy of an actual real system, a real world, maybe a real solar system. It's a duplicate. That's why everything that happens in here, even though it is so strange and often hidden from us, it will never cross-contaminate the real reality because it's all quarantined inside of here. And inside of here, we're experiencing a time dilation, meaning time in a linear progression for us is highly compressed. It's easy to edit, and it's easy to institute resets and all kinds of phenomena inside the construct because they're able to manipulate our perception of time. This means that while we're living an entire lifetime, the whole episode that I call Jason Brashears and an avatar born in 1973, this entire episode could be 17 minutes with some VR headset on the outside of the construct. There could be thousands of people in buildings that are experiencing all this. There may be only 250,000 real people in this entire simulacrum. I don't know. Could be 200, even 250 million is still a drop in the bucket compared to the actual population of the world as projected. All this could be going on simultaneously with 10,000 other simulacrums, all having totally different participants. And because these simulacrums have governors and they have overseers, then cross-contamination from simulacrum to simulacrum is very possible. What doesn't work in this simulacrum, or programming and cataclysm protocols that have gone out of control in this simulacrum, can be transferred to one that is working. And this is why all of a sudden we have a whole new race of people. They come with their own infrastructure, their own memories are implanted. There's not a single shred of evidence this race or culture ever existed in the world. And then all of a sudden they show up and they take over an entire nation. They infiltrate the Mediterranean. We have no evidence of a prior existence. We don't know how they just appeared on the scene because there's an ocean there, and we call them the Sea Peoples Confederation today. Or we call them the Lanuna in the 35th century BC.
This is Archaics. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. This was actually suggested to me by a viewer, and I like it. I don't know if I agree with any of it, but I do like that it seems to touch on or seem, I guess, to overlap with a lot of other subjects that I'm very interested in, such as the prison planet theory or simulation theory, the multiverse theory. Very interesting stuff to me. So to hear that there's this theory that kind of encompasses and touches on all these others, we're going to be doing some more digging on that. So you can definitely look forward to seeing some more videos on Archaics coming up.
Okay, when the person goes through the death experience and they're dying, they said the first thing, they feel very cold. Then the next instant, they're standing by the bed looking down at the body. It's that quick. They say it's just like getting up from one chair and sitting down in another chair. You just slide right out of the body. So they're standing next to the bed looking down at the body, and they'll say, gee, I didn't know I looked that bad. And believe me, the last thing they'd want to do is go back into that body. Usually it's sick or it's diseased and there's no hope of it ever getting well. They don't want to go back to it. Because the next thing that comes into their mind is, hey, I'm out of there. I'm free. I can go anywhere I want. I can do anything I want. So that's what they want to do. They want to go on. They want to go home, really. It's the people who are left behind are the ones who grieve about it. They want them to stay with them. But do you really want them to be back in a body like that most of the time there's no hope for them? It's better to realize to let them go, because when you hold on to it, you're being selfish. It's just for yourself. I'm gonna miss them. I want them to be with me. I don't know what I'll do without you, that kind of thing. It was the selfish thing, because really, the parts I'm gonna go through is you make a contract when you come in. And in this contract, you also make an exit plan. So all of this is planned before you ever come into the life. So the person is ready to go on. They have completed their mission. They have completed everything they were supposed to do. They don't know this consciously, but it is part of a plan.
I just find that absolutely fascinating. I don't know if this woman is just a really good con artist or if she really did do all this past life regression therapy with all these individuals to obtain this vast wealth of knowledge on the subject. Even if she did do all of these, I'm not completely convinced in, I guess you would say, the power, the necessary power of hypnotism that would need to be there in order for these people to just completely check out and say, I remember a past life. I do believe that people can be hypnotized, people who want to be hypnotized. I've seen some convincing stuff, but I'm not convinced that someone could be hypnotized to that degree. I guess I'll say that. I could be wrong. I'll probably get eviscerated in the comments by people who have been hypnotized. And I'll just go ahead and say right now, I'm probably wrong. I'm a see it to believe it type of person. That being said, that's the end of this video, and I will definitely be digging into some more Dolores Cannon stuff, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know a lot of you said that you were interested in it. I'm getting a new camera tomorrow, so that's cool. I've invested into the channel to bring the quality up. Gonna be releasing at least my part in better video quality now. Also, I am working on a Discord. I've got a really good friend of mine right now working on setting up a Discord server for us, and that'll be a place where you guys can not only communicate better with me, but also get in there and post things that you'd like for me to put in the videos. So that I'm really excited about getting that thing set up. That should be probably within about a week. I should be able to announce the name of that Discord server. Let me know down in the comments if that's something you guys are excited about like I am. Anyways, that's the end of the video, and I will see you guys tomorrow in the next one. I hope you have a great, safe, fantastic day. I will see you tomorrow.